A massive thank you to me, Torspedia, Ross, Chrissy and Riley for subscribing to the channel. If you're already featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 5 of Season 5 of the F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend, of course, with a bumper episode. It's the first sprint race of Season 5 of this series. Now, if you missed out on the last video that went live from Shanghai, I would highly recommend going back and checking out, of course, the second return of the Chinese GP. Was probably the most, it was up there with Saudi Arabia for the most dramatic race so far of the season. But as we head towards Imola this weekend, we really do need to find our footing. Of course, there will be spoilers in just a second. So, like I said, this is your chance. Go back, check that video out if you missed it. But championship-wise then, Charles Leclerc still unstoppable at the top of the table. There are 100 points to his name. Lando Norris still just 2 points ahead of myself as we head towards round 5 of the year. There, we're in P3, a long way ahead of Lance Stroll. They can see Mick Schumacher and Lance Stroll. They're both new at Alpine, doing very well at the start of this campaign. An absolute gaggle of cars battling for P4 onwards there. Lando Norris once again has proven why he's the best of all of those runners there. But yeah, this weekend I think we just need to try and beat Charles. I've got to try and stop his run of form early on in the campaign. He's already got a 44-point lead in the championship. So yeah, well, we've got those extra bonus points in the sprint race this weekend. Fingers crossed we can try and close in, but if we can't, then it's really looking like it's already becoming a lost cause just 5 races in to a 22 race campaign. Lando Norris is still the only driver to start on the front row of every race so far this season, if my memory hasn't failed me, and I'm sure Ferrari, at one of their home Grand Prix, will want him to be doing that this weekend. Top times to see us through into Q3 are going to have to be down in the 1-minute 13s, but it is looking very close for call. It's going to be tight margins around what is a very short lap. Well, I think everyone is going out then on a scrub set of tyres first of all that we all used in Q1, so times aren't quite going to be as good as we would expect. They're having to second guess our way through the final couple of turns. A bit of dirty air getting kicked up from Yuri Vips in front. We do go fastest on a 1:14.3, but like I said, we're going to need to try and find a bit more time when we get into the final run. There we go, Charles Leclerc sets the pace. That's what we've got to be aiming for. Less than a minute left on the clock then. Everyone going out for their final runs here in Q2. We've had a pattern so far this year, starting right at the sharp end and then starting 10th or lower. This weekend should be the one where we start 10th or lower again, but I'm hoping to finally try and break that curse. I think we're making it through into Q3 anyway. Looks like no one really able to improve at the end of the second session. They've got to try and get a better run though through those final couple of turns, which we will do. 2/10th improvement will push us close towards the 1:13s. We go P3 behind, I think that was Ocon in the McLaren. There we go then, official confirmation, we are through into Q3. Charles Leclerc fastest ahead of Ocon there, able to split the 2 Audi cars. Any major surprises? Yuri Vips, I'm sure, quite gutted. Lando Norris and both Alpines out in Q2. There are going to be a lot of cars a bit further back then. They're going to be having to try and recover places in the Grand Prix. Pierre Gasly, Mercedes, into Q3 for the first time this year. Well, luckily, we've got 2 fresh sets of tyres then ready for Q3 here at Imola. I always forget in the sprint weekends that you do still get that extra set ready for Q3. We might be a little bit close to Esteban Ocon at the start of this lap, but we've just got to get one nailed down here. I need to get into the 13s. I'm definitely losing a lot of time in Sector 1, but gaining most of it back in Sector 2 and Sector 3. Definitely running a lot higher downforce than most of the AI around this venue. Was rounding out the final corner up towards the start-finish line. Where is our first time going to put us? Ocon does a 14.0. I only managed a 14.5. That is awful on a fresh set. Well, it was Lando Norris last weekend who took his first pole for Ferrari. Will it be Esteban Ocon taking his first pole for McLaren here at Imola? Round in the final corner. 30 seconds left of the session. Everyone else is on their final run. How much more time will we be able to find? final corner. It's a much better lap. I think we're going to go P2, though. I don't think we're going to have enough to beat out Ocon. It's P2 on the grid here at Imola there. Just made a little mistake down through Aqua Minerale that cost me a tenth or so on the exit. That could have been pole, but we will settle for it.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top three today. Ocon, Mr. Monaco, and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
I don't think I've ever seen a thing more cursed inside F1 22 than Esteban Ocon in McLaren overalls there, apart from Latifi in the Mercedes gear, but I guess I've kind of become used to that. It's P2 then on the grid here, ready for the Emilia-Romagna GP sprint race. Will McLaren have the pace to hang on tomorrow? Let's get into it.
Well, the weather is not looking good today. We're expecting the downpours to continue into today's sprint. This will make for some very tricky conditions for all the teams. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. A fantastic effort from Esteban Ocon yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, Oscar Piastri, and Tsunoda. Ricciardo, Bottas, Gasly, and Alex Albon. Joe, Daruvala, Yuri Vips, and Norris. Stroll, Mick Schumacher, Felipe Drugovich, and Daniel Ticktum. Latifi, Schwartzman, Magnussen, and Théo Pourchaire. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Right, well, here we are then, ready for a very, very soggy Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix there. Full wet tyres doesn't even mean I can use the advantage of trying to use the softs against everyone on the mediums, which is kind of heartbreaking. But that being said, often, you know, last weekend in the wet weather, we did actually do quite well there. There is a small part of me that was thinking that maybe intermediates could be the way to go, but the game is telling me absolutely not there. Whether we'll see a change in the weather, we will have to wait and see, but Ocon on the pole. First ever time for him, of course, in his new McLaren team. But I feel good about this. I think this, I'm sure I'm jinxing myself by saying this, but I reckon this might actually really suit us. Mainly because we're running more downforce than everyone else again.
Okay, heavy rain was staying with us for a while now, at least a 20-minute window of heavy rain.
Well, there we go. That just confirms it. We are going to be seeing rain throughout the entirety of this sprint race then, so I guess it's one less thing we have to worry about rather than changeable conditions. I feel like, I don't know why I think this, but I feel like this might be the first time I start on the right-hand side here at Imola. I feel like every time I've ever lined up on this grid, it's been on the left. And of course, going to try and angle myself towards that run in towards turn one.
Okay,
I'm also going to angle myself way over the white line, which is not going to do me any favours. Charles Leclerc now practically alongside me as we wait for the Aston Martins at the rear of the field. But let's see if we can get a good start then, like we did last weekend in Shanghai. Could we jump Ocon on the run towards turn one? Let's do this thing. Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix time, 5 red lights. This lights out, and away we go. Try and monitor the wheel spin as best as possible. You know what? We have had a good start there as we head down in towards turn one. Fantastic pickup in the higher gears there, but Ocon, whoa, Ocon's going to cover me off in towards the first corner. Looks like we've got an AlphaTauri. Who's that? Oscar Piastri. Where's he come from? Straight into P2 of the Grand Prix there as we hop over the curbing through the first corner there. Massive lockup in towards the second corner, but we've got to try and stay ahead of Charles Leclerc early on in this GP, which we have done, which of course we didn't achieve last weekend in Shanghai. But Oscar Piastri, he started like 6th in this Grand Prix. He must have had phenomenal hookup as we went down in towards the first corner. Then muscled his way to the front of the field there and stood firm as I was rattling over the curbs towards him. Of course, former teammate, there is still potentially a little bit of beef between us. Of course, left the team halfway through Season 2. Kind of a bit of a startling move, to be honest, at the time. Really did surprise us that Oscar no longer wanted to be involved with the organisation, but I think we've done much better since dropping him than he's been able to do. And of course his replacement, Théo Pourchaire, didn't do half badly as well that year. This year, Théo Pourchaire, I think, a little bit gutted with where he's at, but that's going to have to do. But yeah, Oscar Piastri then up to P2 by the end of lap 1. Esteban Ocon right up there, still in the lead of the Grand Prix. But how difficult is it going to be trying to overtake the AI then this weekend? As you can see, fighting with the car to try and find grip and traction at that final corner. Charles Leclerc 8/10 back still. Of course, we won't get any DRS today. And a bit like Shanghai, it looks like the AI just able to pull away from me down the straights. Fastest lap of the day. Nope, Charles Leclerc's going to take that one immediately straight off my hands. Yeah, we just cannot get close enough to Oscar Piastri. I'm basically doing the Lewis Hamilton experience from real-life Imola last year. To be honest, everything about this is a bit like Imola last year. It was incredibly soggy that weekend. The Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix was certainly an experience I would recommend doing for everyone once, but if it's wet, it does get quite soggy around Imola. It's safe to say it doesn't have sort of modern drainage like a lot of other F1 venues, but yeah, got to try and find a way around Piastri. I think it's going to have to be in a traction zone somewhere, maybe if he has a little bit of wheel spin and try and pull alongside and then hang on there. But we are still fighting this car for grip. That's exactly what I mean though. As soon as I say that, up at Aqua Minerale, Piastri just watching his mirrors, going to have to go defensive in towards the chicane. Are we going to be able to put the power down on the exit? You can see again the AlphaTauri car just moving across me off of the corner, but up the inside we'll go. Got to be so careful there. Big lock up on the inside front, but we get the car slowed down. We give him the room around the outside there, and we're now up into P2 of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Will Piastri be able to get a run back on me? So he head down in towards the first corner. I am going to have to go defensive on him as here goes Oscar. Look at the speed of that AlphaTauri as we head back down towards the first corner. Charles Leclerc going to try and make something happen as well. Oh, we rattle over the curbs and again just slam the door on our teammate. And Oscar Piastri, we've had Mick Schumacher, a resurgence of form from him, as again here goes Charles Leclerc. Oscar Piastri clearly thought, I fancy a bit of that as well, because now suddenly he's absolutely in his element.
Predicting at least 20 minutes of heavy rainfall.
It's just going to rain all day, Mark. You don't have to keep reminding me. We've only got 5 laps left of this race. It's new fastest lap of the afternoon. Both myself and Piastri now start to take a bit of time out of Esteban Ocon at the front of the field, and I really do wonder if we were to... Whoa! I was about to say, I really do wonder if we could get round Piastri, whether we'd have the time to close up to Ocon. Apparently, Oscar's gone, find out, mate. 6 laps to go. We've now got 4 seconds up to Esteban Ocon to try and close in. But after all that squabbling, he's just made it really easy for me there. Just snagged the brakes into 1. And we'll say thank you very much.
It looks like we might have an issue.
No, come on. Come on, EA, I'm doing well. We've taken nearly a second out of Ocon on this lap alone. Don't do this again. Charles Leclerc doesn't have any engine failures. Why, but I'm actually going to outscore him? Does the game go, right, now's the time. Flick the switch. Blow his engine up.
And that's just 5 laps of fuel remaining. Green flag. We're racing
Flag.
again.
Someone's got issues at the rear of the field. Yep, there we go.
Find a safe space to retire or return to the pits.
Getting really bored of this. I tell you what, Tsunoda's blown up as well at the same time. Actually, I'm intrigued to see, where's the AI going to try and park me? We'll give him a safety car. He's going to reverse into the middle of the circuit. Where else would you want to go in the rain? Come on, EA. Come on. Oh, he's doing it. There we go. He's let everyone else through. Fair enough. I'll allow... Well, I won't allow it. It's really annoying. But second mechanical failure of the year. And we're starting from the back, ready for the real GP. This is not fun.
Well, not the result our points leader would have wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Let's move on to the constructors. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
I think we broke F122 again. I don't know how Alex Albon's done it, but he's won the Emilia-Romagna GP sprint race there. Williams have bagged a 1-2. Charles Leclerc ended up down in 19th place there. Ocon ended up down in 12th. What on earth has happened? It's like most of the field has been reversed in the second half of the GP there. Yuri Vips almost took the win, 44 thousandths of a second behind his teammate Alex Albon come the checkered flag there. Drugovich in P3, Mick Schumacher in 4th there. Latifi scored points in his awful Mercedes ahead of Stroll, Lando Norris and Dan Ticktum. And of course this now is the grid, ready for the main event tomorrow. I mean, I don't know what F122 is doing anymore. Apparently I'm just getting engine failures constantly among everything else. But there was a huge gap behind, well, really from Gian Daruvula, 7 seconds back to Zhou Guanyu. I don't know what's happened there, but I guess we've got to get on with it. Let's jump in then. Ready for the real event here from Imola. Both of our cars starting at the back of the field. Now we have got a chance to take points out of Charles Leclerc if he gets stuck behind people. But overtaking today is going to be near impossible.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters wearing red today, and they've all turned out for what we're expecting will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's taken anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Yuri Vips lines up on pole position, and Felipe Drugovich completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Mick Schumacher, Latifi, Lance Stroll, and Norris, Ticktum, Daruvula, Joe, and Kevin Magnussen. Albon, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo, and Schwartzman, Perez, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, and Valtteri Bottas, Leclerc, Théo Pourchaire, Tsunoda, and Mr. Monaco. And now it's time to head down to the track. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. That was a great podium in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Right, well, back down then on the track side here in Imola. I've just seen it's going to rain at the end of the race. Oh, no. Come on. I cannot seem to catch a break on this game there. So that's going to make things very, very interesting then. I'm actually going to switch over the tyre strategy, so we'll go mediums onto softs. That then should mean, of course, if the rain does arrive, then we can jump onto those softs. We should have a little bit more grip late on in the afternoon. But it's a last question mark challenge then here from Imola now. Plenty of cars out of position. We can see Charles Leclerc just in front of me. Tsunoda as well now is behind me, but not. As Williams on the front of the grid there. It's a bit of a shame that one of the cars has taken some grid penalties, but it is what it is.
No threat of rain for the time being. Conditions look good.
Well, that's a lie, isn't it, Mark? There's definitely rain coming at some point today. You've just told me there is. I mean, this is a ridiculously big opportunity for Alex Albon to take his very first Formula One victory, because sensibly, I think it's only the Ferrari of Daniel Ricciardo there that's inside the top 10 that's really got any sort of chance of stopping him. Looking at it, Haas just haven't quite delivered. I suppose Alpine in P3 there should have quite a big opportunity as well today, depending on what happens. But anything can happen this afternoon here at Imola. We've just got to take no prisoners. I'm going to be trying to go for moves wherever possible. Overtaking is going to be incredibly difficult as well, but let's see what we can do then. 5 red lights on the grid. There's lights out, and away we go. Of course, cars around me starting on the soft, so I won't be able to get a good run in towards turn 1 there, and of course the AI are much better on their dry launches than their wet ones. Down in towards the first corner, Haskell already gone around the outside of Alex Albon in towards that first turn. Are we going to see some contact further back? We'll try and get around the outside of our old teammate Théo Pourchaire there. I feel a bit gutted for him, of course, in that Aston Martin. Not really going to be able to do a lot today, but the Haas has made it through then, so seen him take quite a few victories in the Haas road to glory. Never in the My Team series, though, if I'm not mistaken, as around the outside of a handful of cars will go through the next couple of corners there. That's Valtteri Bottas getting absolutely swamped in his Red Bull as we head back up the hill, though. Again, straight line speed OP for the AI there. Think about trying to get back down the inside of the Flying Fin, but we'll think better of it as side by side down in towards Aqua Minerale. Yeah, don't really want to get involved in that one as Teo Porcher fancies a look up the inside. We'll just about hook it up around the outside of him, so we are at one place then off the start. Thought about it in towards the chicane there, but yeah, this is probably going to be quite a long afternoon's worth of action, I feel, here from Imola. 32 laps ahead of us as we round our way down in towards the final couple of turns, but of course we're going to be able to fight a lot of very, very quick cars before we can try and get to the slower ones, as Felipe Drugovich then leads the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix here. Could Haas be on for their first ever win in this My Team career mode? As Charles Leclerc looking for a run back down towards turn 1, can't quite get alongside the car in front of him. Bottas again going slow through Tosa. Okay. I don't know how I've done that, but around the outside of the Red Bull. Team loving that one as well. Is the outside of Tosa going to be my place to make overtakes today? So we've got Aston Martin and a Ferrari duking out a bit further up. Now we've got both Audis trying to look past both Alpha Tauris. This is just going to be one of those races. It's just going to be anarchy. I mean, luckily, we have got that Aston Martin that's holding everyone up there, as it looks like Charles Leclerc trying to look around the outside of Oscar Piastri. Are we going to be in a position to try and capitalise on this one? We'll get to the outside of the AlphaTauri car behind. It's again AlphaTauri versus Audi 2x2. We'll be able to get around the outside of Yuki as we head up the hill. Of course, doing absolute bits in the new co-op career mode I'm doing with going on. No, whoa! Charles Leclerc's just been completely taken out by Kevin Magnussen there that's gone rogue, and Charles out of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. So absolutely disastrous weekend for our teammate. And Kevin Magnussen, what on earth was that? As he came back onto the circuit, I got hit by Yuki Tsunoda as we both tried to avoid it. Have we picked up any major damage? Car looks absolutely fine on the MFD. Underbody's taken a tiny bit of damage, so shouldn't affect us too much. But Charles Leclerc out then of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. This has been a disastrous weekend for Audi so far. We've got to try and recover anything we can. Gasly now sitting in the way of Oscar Piastri. Of course, Nicholas Latifi scored their first points in yesterday's sprint. None of us really know how, to be honest. Kind of everything from that sprint race is a mystery, because of course I got screwed by another engine failure. But Piastri then, whoa, come on Oscar. Had a good battle with him in yesterday's sprint race action as well. Yesterday we were battling for P2, now we're battling for P16. Life comes at you pretty fast in F1 My Team. Piastri then's going to try and get a run on Pierre back down in towards the first corner there. Mercedes versus AlphaTauri. Nope, apparently he's going to try and just give him a push in towards the first corner there. He will get to the outside of the Mercury, will slam the door. I'm going to try and be at the right place at the right time there. Past Oscar Piastri will go into P16 then of this GP. The clouds overhead are moving very, very quickly as well, which means that weather is going to be moving in later on in the afternoon. That's one thing as well. Spoke about the flash a couple of weeks ago. If the clouds are moving around really quickly on F122, it means that there is going to be rain at some point, because it's trying to effectively load the skybox where it should be. It's a little bit weird, but it basically just means, of course, that clouds that you can't see at the start of the race, you can then actually see them later on. As Gasly, big wobble as we head up the hill out of Aqua Minerale. Slow is Pierre off the corner there. I'm so used to Merc actually being somewhat competent that I'm quite surprised to be able to get the run off the corner. She lifts out slightly down the hill, which gives me a good opportunity to send it. But he's probably going to come straight back at me out of the final corner, especially if I dip a wheel in the gravel trap like that. But let's try and defend ourselves as best as possible. Purple in that final sector, as here goes Pierre Gasly down around the outside again in towards the first corner. So much battery early on as Oscar Piastri there sent it last second. Kind of had to suddenly jump out of the way and give him a little bit of room, but there was definitely contact. But we both survived. Sticking close to Pierre Gasly now as we head back down towards someone. DRS and ERS, and we're barely able to pull alongside the Merc. But we are just about going to do it down in towards the first corner. They're trying to give him a bit of a squeeze into the turn, and we are now through into P15 then of this GP. So we are making decent progress early on. Now we got a little bit of a gap up to Robert Schwartzman. And then a huge gaggle of cars again. Let's just settle down, get a couple of laps to myself. We can gather our thoughts. Oh, there we go. New fast lap of the day. We might be at the back of the field, but we certainly have still got an incredibly quick race car. That's going to make life easier. Schwartzman next car in front of me with an issue, as Lando Norris, I've noticed, right at the front of the order there, has been able to move his way through all those midfield cars. So he is now in hot pursuit of the Alpine and the Williams in P2 and P3. Felipe Drugovich, though, is building up a little bit of a gap at the front, and this is what we were looking forward to. This is what I was so excited about heading into Season 5. But, you know, the teams like Williams and Haas suddenly now do have an opportunity to battle it out for the podiums. Sarah Schwartzman, Alfa Romeo, again, haven't quite kicked on the way we were hoping they would, but Schwartzman really is trying to put up a fight here. Can we try and get a run out of Aqua Minerale? He's going to be incredibly slow on the exit. Look at that. Monstrous run on the Alfa Romeo. They've got to send it in towards chicane. Yuri Vips, though, in the second Williams out, though, of the GP. That is really, really heartbreaking for him. Had that fantastic P2 finish yesterday in the sprint race, but he's going to leave the main event from Imola with nothing to show for it. Meanwhile, his teammate Alex Albon is still in a fight at the front. New fastest lap as we're now inside the DRS range of Esteban Ocon. Probably should have won yesterday's sprint race. Until F122 decided to do F122 things, but if he's out of the range next lap, he might be a bit more of a sitting duck. I think I've just realised as well, I had my Williams the wrong way around. Alex Albon was the one with grid penalties then, so Yuri Vips has retired from a potential podium in the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix there, so that one must really, really sting for the Estonian driver there, who has to be said has really come into F1 and been absolutely sensational in his first 4 Grand Prix there. But Albon's down in 9th in the other Williams car. There is Ocon definitely close enough to Ricciardo to get the benefit of the DRS, but he is going to peel immediately into the pit lane then. I honestly completely forgot about that fact that the AI would be coming in as soon as they have here, but into P7 we go then this afternoon. Lando Norris is now leading the way at the front of the field as we're trying to close in on Dan Ticktum. I'm guessing Ticktum's going to be peeling into the pit lane at the end of this lap, but even if he wasn't, we still have got a pretty decent run on him at the final corner. Now up into P5 then of this race. So it looks like the top 5 then still in the running have all started on the medium compound tyres. As why is Daruvula down in 4th? Don't say he's gone and bottled it somewhere, and now Lando Norris has got a huge lead in this Grand Prix. Daruvula must have made a mistake somewhere. I must have completely missed that, but Daruvala's way back down the order, unless... Surely he didn't... No, he can't have pit on mediums and now be out there. Surely not. I really am losing my marbles, I think, today. It's just what F122 does to me. Of course, it was Drugovich that was leading the way, and he's come out just ahead of one of the Aston Martins. That's where I was getting muddled. Yeah, Daruvula, he was never in the question for the win here. Unfortunately, yeah, the game's just told me that at the wrong time there, because made a bit of a mistake through the chicane, but luckily got away with it. But rain 10 minutes away then, so we've got to try and stay out on these mediums for as long as possible then. It is quite a gamble into the second half of the afternoon there, but Daruvula, Lance Stroll into the pit lane then, Nicholas Latifi into P2 of this GP. Tyres, where are they at? 40%, so they won't sensibly go to the end of the Grand Prix. I mean, we could stretch them if we absolutely had to. But yeah, it is a question of whether we'll be going on to softs or inters. Lando into the pit lane. I'm sure Nicholas Latifi will be following him in at half distance here this afternoon. And from the back of the grid then, it's taken us 16 laps, but we are now at the front. Now, of course, it is just a case of what we're going to do with strategy. But yeah, Felipe Drugovich, though, still doing absolute bits at the moment, did temporarily reclaim fast lap the afternoon. Ricciardo's just gone a tenth faster, but that Haas car is quick. If we can't make it to the intermediates, Drugovich is probably going to win this race. Although saying that, Mick Schumacher is still in hot pursuit. He's been on an absolute tear in recent times as well. Got a bit unlucky with the strategy last weekend, but Lando Norris has actually come out just in front of him. So that is going to be very interesting. Then it could be Ferrari versus Haas at one of the Italian GPs. I would not want to be the one making the call down at Haas at the moment. Well, I might have a bit more sympathy for poor Kevin Magnussen, stuck now on an Aston Martin team with no funding from the Canadians, but he did also take out my teammate earlier on in this GP, and apparently I'm not going to get any DRS either as we head back down towards Turn 1. Looks like a McLaren's gone round down through Aqua Minerale. Did not want to do that. Thank you very much to K-Mag. But yeah, Drugovich is closing in late on in the afternoon. That Haas car could legitimately win this race. It is completely dependent on whether the rain arrives, whether I can pit onto intermediates. Otherwise, if I have to pit onto dries, it's over. We can't do anything about it, but I really have got to make that choice quite soon, as the skies are still looking very sunny. Right, well, team's still saying the rain's going to be 10 to 15 minutes out, so I think we've just got to pit onto a set of soft compound tyres. Don't want to be left stranded late on in the day, where we're getting swamped by other cars. We've still got to make a pit stop, and we're losing time to them. So if we pit now, we should come out, I'm looking at it, around sort of that McLaren Alpine battle of Zhou Guanyu and Lance Stroll in this GP. Felipe Drugovich will retake the lead of the Grand Prix. The gap is coming down to Lando Norris, but not drastically. There's a nice tidy pit stop from the team as well. We've just got to push on late on in the day. We've got the fastest car in Formula 1, but we're still yet to take a win so far this year. And we're actually going to come out right near Jay Arugula. Trying to put the power down out of the pit lane. Jay Arugula will slot through. I'm sure Drugovich will be telling him to defend like a lion. Being said though, Arugula on an old set of hard tyres versus myself on a fresh set of softs. I don't think he's going to have much of a say on the matter. As round the outside or through the chicane, he actually rattles over the curbing and makes a tiny bit of contact with us, but we are through. You know, that was fair but aggressive racing, I think, between the pair of us there. Next up, Lance Stroll, and I mean, we should be closing in on cars literally seconds a lap late on in the day here. We've only got 10 laps to do it, though. Drugovich is still a long way up the road. The team's still staying 10 to 15 minutes for the rain, so it might start spitting down on the final lap, so we might just have to try and nurse these tyres a little bit just to make sure we have still got a grip advantage late on in the day, but this could end up being quite another dramatic late race changeable conditions Grand Prix. We seem to get a lot of them on F1 22 at the moment. Look at that, 2 seconds already pulled out over to Ruvela. 2 seconds taken out of Stroll as well. New fast lap of the day, 15.1. Yeah, I mean, if we get closer to these cars, they're not going to have much of a chance. Oh no! Whoa! Lance Stroll's just done a full 360 in front of me there. That's going to make it another easy overtake then, but Stroll trying to do some pirouettes late on in the afternoon, and that has potentially made it even more difficult for Zhou Guanyu, because now he's not even going to have a rear gunner to try and defend him. 7 laps to go then, and we are all over the back of Zhou Guanyu, but that cloud above the circuit is looking rather ominous at the moment, as the other thing that's looking ominous is just how close Lando Norris is to Felipe Drugovich there as they head back down towards Turn 1. Will Ferrari take the lead here in Italy as they head down in towards the first corner? Lando trying to look around the outside. I think he might just about pulled it off, but no, Drugovich coming back at him. We've got to focus on our own battle going on there as well, as Zhou Guanyu's made that incredibly easy. Thank you very much, mate. Drugovich lives to fight another day. 6 seconds up to those front-running cars, and we are closing in on them at a rate of knots. Felipe Drugovich in his Haas car, of course, powered by Ferrari. Lando Norris, Ferrari's new hotshot, and Mick Schumacher, the one that many believed would be Ferrari's next hotshot, are all now going to be chased down by yours truly. Not Jarno, yours. That is the worst joke I've ever made on this channel. Gotta be up there. Oh, Lando Norris again has tried it on Drugovich down at Turn 1. They're 3 wide for the lead of the Grand Prix, but Lando Norris has made it through, and he is up now into prime position to potentially take his first win for Ferrari here on F1 22. Will Drugovich be able to hang close enough and potentially get back past him? It's a great storyline for Ferrari, but you gotta feel for Haas. Could have won their first Grand Prix without me being involved in it inside F1 22. I know, of course, we've won races for him in the RTG, but Drugovich down to P2. It's been a valiant effort all afternoon, but he is still on softer tyres. If he can stay close to Lando, could he come back at him? Oh, Drugovich hasn't got the run out in the final corner. He will have the DRS off Lando Norris, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere near close enough as they head back down towards Turn 1. 4 laps to go. 4 cars battling for the lead of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and now we've got lap traffic as well getting involved in it. What Season 5 of this series, I tell you what, is absolutely mental up to now. There we've got another Aston Martin. That must be Teo Porcher this time round that he's hopefully going to jump out of the way of all four of us, but he is definitely holding Lando Norris up slightly. Drugovich much closer to the Ferrari than he has been. Rain is still on the horizon, though. It's Kevin Magnussen again. Magnussen 2 laps down, but when are we going to get the rain? This is the real question at the moment. Is that rain going to arrive? Who is it going to benefit? And who is going to win the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix there? See, we get a nice run on Mick Schumacher up the top of the hill, but just cannot do anything with it that time around. They're the Alpine. We know just how torquey those Renault E-Tech power units can be, and Schumacher will hang on for now. Oh, I'm seeing spits of rain. The rain has arrived here at Imola. Who is this going to give an advantage to, depending? I mean, it is meant to fall incredibly quickly, and often in the past that has given the AI a big advantage, but of course we're running more downforce, and we're on softer, fresher tyres still. There is so much still to play for here at Imola at the moment, as again we'll get a run on Mick Schumacher. This time around the roads get much better hookup than the Alpine driver. They're side by side as we head into the chicane, and the second time we made a move through there. Up into the podium places then, late on in the day, but Drugovich still trying to hang on inside the DRS of Lando Norris. He's on softer compound tyres than Lando. We've got the top 3 now on 3 different sets of tyres. This is getting crazy. Lando Norris is definitely still confident late on in the days. Again, it seems like out of the Aqua Minerale complex is where we've got the advantage there. Big brave dive bomb on Felipe Drugovich there, and will he hang on for a podium this afternoon? It wasn't long ago that he was still trying to battle for the win, but Lando Norris is clean up the road now, 2 seconds clear as we round our way in towards to start the final lap of the Emilia-Romagna GP. There, Schumacher has made it by as well. Poor Felipe Drugovich, it is all going wrong right at the end of the day there. That Haas car is just getting bullied back down the order, as now I think Zhou Guanyu is going to be trying to look for a move as well there. And yep, Drugovich from 1st down to 5th in the space of about 3 laps. Honestly, he's giving me Sebastian Bourdais vibes from the 2008 Belgian Grand Prix there. Very obscure reference, I know, but he went from potentially getting Toro Rosso's first podium to ending up finishing the Grand Prix in 7th, all pretty much in the space of the final lap. But the grip is getting less and less around this Imola circuit.
Okay, the stewards have now disabled DRS.
No!
DRS is now disabled.
No! Final lap of the Grand Prix there. Oh, it just keeps going round on me. Oh, I can't rejoin. What are you doing? No! Magnussen's just driven into me. We got a 5-second penalty. I've caused carnage. I've actually caused carnage on the final lap of this GP there. I mean, I thought we were still over on the other side of the circuit, but Magnussen's just tried to drive through me. Lando Norris is going to come through to win the Emilia. We've got so much damage at the rear end. Something's broken. Something's completely broken on the rear of the car there. I can't see anything on the MFD. Is it? Oh, it's tyre temperatures, isn't it? I cannot believe that. We were battling for the win late on in the day, and on a weekend where we needed to take points out of Charles Leclerc, we just got too overzealous on the throttle heading out of Tosa, avoided the wall, tried to get back onto the circuit, looped it round again, and this has been an absolute disaster for Audi 212 Motorsport. They're in towards the final couple of corners. I still don't think Drugovich got a podium in all of the chaos going on there. Lando Norris takes his first win for Ferrari, but we have completely bottled it on the final lap of this GP. And again, the race victory that we're so longing for with our new team is still going to have to wait yet another weekend.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And that's it then for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And what a sensational victory they've managed to pull off here. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again. This result then narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula 1.
Well, there we go then. The end of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Lando Norris is on top for Ferrari there. We've seen him win with McLaren, we've seen him win with Alpine, and now we've seen him win with Ferrari there. He always, no matter what team he ends up going to, somehow finds a way to get himself to the top of a Formula 1 race there. And I mean, honestly, he's probably one of the most underrated drivers we've had in this My Team career mode there. Mick Schumacher comes through for P2. There's Zhou Guanyu in third there. Drogovic, heartbreaking for Paul Felipe. He did recover back fourth place after I bottled it, but definitely deserved to at least get a podium when all is said and done there. Stroll in fifth ahead of Ricciardo, Gian Aruvula, Albon, Tsunoda, Perez rounding out the top 10 there, and I cannot believe I threw that away on the final lap there. We did still beat out Ocon, Théo Pourchaire, Kevin Magnussen, Vips and Charles Leclerc, not making it through to the checkered flag. But that means championship-wise, Charles Leclerc still leads the way, but Lando Norris now all over the back of our teammate there. 15 points back now as we leave Imola this weekend. Maybe that little win will spur Ferrari on just a bit more there. We're still in P3. We didn't take any points out of Charles this weekend. Then no points scored for Audi either. It has been a disastrous sprint race weekend there. Mick Schumacher in fourth, still ahead of Stroll. Daniel Ricciardo, Albon, Drogovic, Bottas and Sergio Perez still rounding out the top 10. Constructors-wise, though, we have still got a fair old lead there. 41 points, the gap to Ferrari, so we can afford another disaster at some point in the near future. But thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back very, very soon when Formula 1 returns to Miami. I beg that weekend, things will finally go our way. We need a win in this career mode. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.